Hello.
Right.
Hello, and welcome to Sports and
Hello.
Sodas, Season 2, Episode 6. Co-hosts here, Andy and Dan. Andy, how are you doing?
I am good. How about yourself?
Good. Welcome to the new year here. It's January 2nd, a Saturday night here as we're recording this. How was your New Year's?
New Year's was good. Had some folks over. They woke me and the other husbands up at about 11:30 off the couches. We fell asleep watching TV, and the wives were playing games. They woke us up, did the whole New Year's thing at midnight. Everybody was gone by 12:15, sleep about 12:30.
Oh, perfect.
That was good. Christmas was good.
Good
How about
holidays.
yourself? Everything go okay?
It went well. It was good. Good holidays. We had folks over here, so it was a good time. We've got college football to cover. We've got NFL to cover. Final week here. Week 17 is on Sunday. All the games. No Monday night game. No Saturday. It's a full slate of games, and then the playoffs will kick in, which should lead me to
Did
my
you do
trivia.
fantasy football this year?
I did not.
I was fourth in one league and won the other one.
I did not
So
play any
it'll be a
fantasy
victory parade through the
football,
house.
but I think some of the teams are changing the names. In fact, I went this year. One of my Christmas gifts was the Washington football team cap. It'll be
Yes.
collectors, Andy, because it used to be the Washington Redskins. Now, for this year and this year only,
Yep.
it's the Washington football team. Now, next year, have they decided on what their
Right.
nickname will be?
I have not heard anything. I don't know if they're leaving it up to the fans, like when a new team comes into town. I always thought they could have kept their little R logo they had for the Redskins, and maybe just change their name to the Washington Republicans or something like that, and keep that R logo. That would have been kind of
Okay.
neat. But because they could have done that, or something red or something R related. Revolutionaries or something. I don't know. But I think they leave it up to the fans. But I hear they want, whatever the name is, they want to keep that color scheme.
Same color scheme. Okay, so I think they'll announce
Yep.
that the new team nickname and then have the logo and everything come out for the 2021 season. But this might be the only season you'll
And
see
now,
this Washington Football League team cap here, the official sideline cap for the Redskins Washington team this year. Sorry. Hey, Andy, should I start off with the trivia question?
hit us with it.
Trivia question this week is: it was 50 years ago this year that the NFL began using a wild card team or teams in the postseason. 50 years they've been doing this wild card. The question is, and this year actually they're going to a 3-team format. There used to be 2 teams, and 12, I think 17 years ago they went to a 2-team wild card. But before that there was actually 3. Now they're going this year to a 3-team format. So 3 teams in each conference will be elected to go as a wild card team. But they've been doing this for 50 years, the wild card in the NFL. The question is, which is the only year that there wasn't a wild card team in the NFL postseason in that 50-year span? 1 year.
I thought you were going to say, well, what years did a wild card team win a Super Bowl? Because I know that's happened quite a bit. But, wow,
In
no
fact,
wild
the
card.
Packers were a wild card team and won the Super Bowl. But here, the question is only one. There's just 1 year. What year did they not have a wild card team at all in the postseason? No wild cards. Going back in that
Wow.
50-year range they've been going on. So there's only 1 year that didn't happen. We'll give the answer to that here later on in the episode.
All right. Going to
So
start off
Andy,
kind of go with the amateur.
go ahead with your sports.
All right. Let's start with the Olympics. As you know, there was no Olympics in 2020. They postponed 2021. It also turns out that if you recall your Olympic history, the Soviets got banned and tagged for a bunch of stuff last time. So the Olympic Committee has come down with their ruling. Russia has been banned from using its name, flag, and anthem for the next 2 Olympics. Russian athletes will be allowed to compete at next year's Tokyo Olympics and the 2022 Games if they're not implicated in doping or covering up for positive tests. Russia was banned Thursday from using its name, flag, and anthem for the next 2 Olympics and in the World Championships for the next 2 years. if you're calling the past few Olympics, they haven't had a Russian flag. They've used the Olympic flag for times when they've won medals. The Olympic flag is flown for them. So Russia not playing nice with the others there. So to see how that falls out. Again, we got till this summer to find out what's going on at the Olympics here, and the next one's how that pans out. That's, of course, barring the fact they don't find more doping stuff on the Russians in the World Games and everything else. Getting back to local stuff here, Minnesota High School League winter sports. Came out on December 16th that the league will open in-person winter sports practice January 4th. There's one exception to that. I know dance teams have been able to practice, but they've been doing it virtually, like on Zoom meetings. Each girl will be in their own house practicing their routines. Very hard to practice at dance, but dance is one of the few sports I think they can get away with that. You can't practice basketball online. You can't practice, wrestling online. All you do is tell you just to work out and stay in shape. Dance, they've been going over their choreography, so they have been able to do that. So that being the one exception there. But like we've referred to before here on the show, Mein Fear, Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor, said teams can start practicing on January 4th. 13 days ago, the league, this is as of the 16th of December. I said 13 days ago, the league board of directors approved a flexible scheduling, modeling, return to participation. They gave days when stuff's going to go. Fourth, gymnastics, girls and boys, boys swimming and diving, alpine skiing may begin in-person practices. Dance can resume them. Adopted floor hockey may begin its training season. We will recognize that our students, coaches, families, and auxiliaries may return to activities and athletics. They said they've redone the dates. They were saying in there all athletes had to wear masks, which kind of confused me. I know from being a dance dad in the past. Once a dance dad, always a dance dad. A lot of things for dance was the face. Their smiles and everything was part of the bit. So if the girls were wearing masks, you've just taken away half their points right there. Don't know how they're going to do that. They have come out later and said, oh, I guess in wrestling you don't have to wear a mask either, which I don't think they should anyway. Another story for another day. That's the one with the most contact, I think, anyway. So masking can help you, Nordic skiing, the outdoor sports, they probably wear a scarf anyway, so what difference is that going to make? You're not going to wear a mask in swimming and diving, I hope. So, we'll see how some of these all pan out later. With football, they had their stuff. The moms got upset in football. Don't upset hockey mom. These hockey moms are going to come out. These other athletes, the parents are going to come out. I'm sure there'll be more changes made. We'll just have to wait and see on that. As for college sports, they're all starting up again here after the holidays. We'll start with the Big Ten. The Gopher women start with games on the 4th and 5th. They'll be playing. They'll circle with every other weekend. Gopher men's hockey is returning, ranked number 1 right now for the Gopher men in hockey, and they'll be starting up here today. This is not a typo. Minnesota Gopher men are playing Arizona State at Mariucci today and tomorrow. Then they go to Wisconsin, then home against Notre Dame, and then they are home against Arizona State again. So a lot of those games coming up every other weekend. Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday. So it's not your typical Thursday, Saturday like it always was before. Just keep it on your calendar. Keep it on our Facebook page. We always update when there's games coming up then. Other hockey, Bemidji State. The women have started again. They started this weekend against Ohio State. They lost yesterday 4-1, and they were playing games in progress, so I couldn't tell you. Don't want to spoil it for you. Then they continue next week with Minnesota State. And then the boys are going also for Bemidji State. Just like what they said before, though, as the girls are at Ohio State, the boys' Ohio State team is here for Bemidji. So that's how they're playing that. The girls will go. It used to be the boys and girls will both go to Ohio State to play, or they'd both go to Mankato. They're splitting it now to avoid everybody being together, doubleheader games and stuff like that. So watch your schedules for your local teams there. Women's hockey for rankings. Wisconsin is 1. Gophers are 2nd. Ohio State 3. Northeastern, and Colgate is the women's rankings. That's as of December 22nd. There weren't many games after that, so I'm pretty sure the polls haven't changed. Get back to Bemidji State with the men's hockey. Anchorage, Alaska, and Alaska Fairbanks have opted out of the 2021 season. I know we said before they had financial issues coming in with all the closings. I'm guessing they're up in Alaska. The flight's down and everything else. The finances weren't there. Those two schools have opted out for the season. So I don't know how makeup games are going to go in there. If they're going to move games up to shorten the season, give them those off weeks, play non-conference games. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Again, just follow your favorite WCHA team's schedule there for that. Men's top schools for the rankings. This is as of December 28th. Like we said, Gophers number 1, Boston College 2, North Dakota 3, Duluth 4th, and Minnesota State, Mankato is 5th. St. Cloud State 6th, and University of Wisconsin at 15. College men's basketball. A lot of games being played this weekend. I know the Duke-Florida State game got postponed because of COVID-19 stuff. Originally, it was to be Coach K wasn't going to make the trip, and then some players on Florida came up with the COVID. So those games were all postponed. No word yet on a makeup date for that. I think they're going to probably wait for a lot of these, see what happens. If they need it, because it's conference play now, so do the games need to be made up for conference standings? What's going to happen? But we'll see. But the top, as of December 27th, rankings for men's basketball, NCAA. Gonzaga first. For those of you who get ESPN2, Gonzaga plays tonight at 7. Them being a Washington-based team, we don't get to see them a lot in prime time. You get a chance to see the squad play, watch them. A very fun team to watch. Gonzaga 1, Baylor 2, Kansas 3. Villanova 4, Houston 5. Big Ten teams in there. Wisconsin at 6, Iowa 10. Iowa won a very close game against Rutgers today. Very good game. Iowa was 10th, Illinois 15. Rutgers 14, Illinois 15. Michigan 16. Michigan State 17. And Gophers were tied at 21st. That was until yesterday. Unless the Gophers come back, they might lose. They might drop out of the top 25 again. Still a good school, still good fun to watch. Like I said earlier, the Duke-Florida State game has been postponed due to COVID reasons. That surfaced Friday at FSU's facilities. The ACC has yet to decide if there'll be a makeup game on it, so we'll see how that goes. Florida State, the postponement also puts in question Florida State's game against January 2nd Syracuse. So there's no lockup there yet. And I know Duke, I think, is going to Tennessee after that. So we don't know how those games are going to play out. Again, keep your eye on our Facebook page for updates on that. No, I'm not a big Duke fan, but I don't want to see them get sick or hurt or anything bad happen to them personally. I mean, if they got a flat tire in their bus and miss the game, I'd laugh hysterically. This is health. This is serious. I don't want to see them get sick, So I'd like to see those games made up. I don't want to hear excuses like we had for college football in the playoffs. So I hope they can make up these basketball games. Women's basketball standings. Stanford 1, Louisville 2, North Carolina State 3, Uconn 4, South Carolina 5. Big Ten representatives, you got Maryland at 14, Northwestern 15, Michigan 16, Ohio State 17, Indiana 20, and Michigan State 25. So lots of Big Ten teams there also. You got anything on women's basketball about UConn, Dan?
Yeah, I've got a little stat. I've been following UConn. If you follow our Facebook page, the UConn women's basketball is a good team to follow. They're ranked 4th in the nation. Their starting guard is Paige Beckers, the Hopkins standout. And they've got 6 games played so far. And they've won the ball 1, 2, 3, 4. They're 6-0. And Paige Beckers has been the leading scorer in 4 of those games. Now, of the 2 games that she wasn't the leading scorer,
freshman too, right?
She's a true freshman. And so she's led the team in assists on the 2 games that she wasn't the leading scorer on the team. So she's putting up some huge points of 3-pointers as well, and getting a lot of minutes to play. True freshman, not even a redshirt. She's actually starting, and I think she's probably leading the team in points as well. So because they're 6-0 this week, now Thursday night on ESPN, they're going to be on the ESPN game against Baylor. Baylor's ranked 7th. Uconn's ranked 4th. That'd be a game I recommend watching, 7:30 Central Time this Thursday. And the final thing to mention there for Uconn, Fox Sports is going to jump into the women's college basketball arena. Fox Sports has never done women's basketball. They've made an announcement on January 31st. The game they're going to be doing on Fox, the first ever game, is the Uconn game at DePaul. It'll be broadcast on Fox. First ever college Division I basketball game broadcast on Fox Sports. And so you get to see your the players right there. But it's interesting to watch the Paige Beckers and the team. They're very good, undefeated, and their points so far are the overwhelming victories, even against the one ranked team they played so far. So that's all I've got for women's college basketball.
All right. We get back into the smaller schools here. Bemidji State's men's team has started up again against Bemidji State's playing Mankato. And the women are playing Mankato again. Like I said, one team, like the men are at Mankato. Mankato's girls are up at Bemidji State playing. Again, empty arenas there, but you can watch them on the NSIC network. If you have a Roku box, you can get the app for NSIC. It's a free app. You can watch the games there. I watch all your football games for Bemidji State, basketball, hockey. If you have smaller schools like that, great. If you got Roku, good app to get. Or get it on your computer and watch, it's fine. I did see on the Gophers website, they do have a 2021 Minnesota women's volleyball schedule is up. I tried to look at rankings. Some other schools, besides the Big Ten, have started their volleyball season already. So there wasn't any Big Ten teams in the rankings yet. Kind of like football, Big Ten was a little late to the dance. Let's get a couple weeks into it. We have to go for a start in January 23rd. So maybe by February, we'll start seeing some Big Ten teams ranked in there. But also women's volleyball get kicked off again. So here's the ranking for 17th for women's volleyball. Texas 1, Kentucky 2, Baylor 3, Notre Dame 4, Louisville 5. So just an eye on those, or keep an ear for those names. Gophers probably handle them. Now, baseball. Happy news, baseball. Saturday, March 27th, New York Mets have their first spring training game against the Florida Marlins. Twins have theirs against the Tampa Bay Rays. Life is good. Life is good. April 1st, no joke, April 1st, that's when the season starts. Mets open up at the Washington Nationals. And the Twins season opens up at the Milwaukee Brewers. Because of the odd teams in the league, there's always, every day, there's an American League playing a National League team. So we start out playing a National League team right away with Brewers. So Twins will start off right away at Milwaukee and with Detroit. The 8th is the home opener against the Mariners. Will be in town. And so, yay for that. And don't forget, like we said, April 14th, NASCAR starts too. April 14th is when the earliest pitchers and catchers are reporting. I'm sorry, not April, February 14th. So just 6 weeks away, all the fun begins. Speaking of baseball, Australian Baseball League has started up. On the 31st, they had a few teams had to back out because of travel restrictions in Australia and New Zealand because of COVID. So there are teams with COVID issues down there. So they're kind of on the fly changing their schedule for Australian baseball. But I did notice after 2 weeks, leading the league in RBIs is some Americans up there leading the leagues in stats. Dimitri Young, he's up there. We got some other U.S. players playing there. So if you want to keep an ear on watching the Australian Baseball League, like I said before, you can watch them on the YouTube. ABL has their own website. I don't know if you got to pay for that. Because the time restraints anymore with work schedules changing for me, I just watch the highlights on YouTube. I do try to put it, if I see a game up on Facebook, I'll put it up on our page. You can always watch it there too. They have it on their Facebook page. The NHL. Yeah, I know. We're going to talk hockey. You don't hear that very often here. The 2021 season will be the 104th season of operation, 103rd of play for the National Hockey League. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the regular season has been reduced to 56 games this year. Tentatively scheduled, it will be held from January 13th through May 8th. Due to COVID-19, crossing border travel restrictions implemented by the Canadian government won't allow travel, so they had to redo the leagues. So like the Minnesota Wild have to play in the Western Division. So a lot of late night games for us because all the Canadian teams are in the North Division. Doesn't matter if you're on the East Coast or West Coast of Canada, you're in the North Division because we can't travel over the border back and forth. They're saying they're going to change up the playoffs. I don't know if that's going to – they've said the format now. Top 4 teams each division will qualify for the 2021 playoffs under the season's temporary realignment. First 3 rounds of the playoffs will be played, and then but I don't know how they're going to do it after that when they got to start playing the Canadian team. Everyone's going to go to Canada. Those few teams will come down here and have a home arena down here. How that's going to work, we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, the Wild will be in the Western Division with the Anaheim Ducks, Arizona Coyotes, the Colorado Avalanche, the Kings, the Wild, San Jose Sharks, St. Louis Blues, and the Vegas Golden Knights. They have also announced that they're going to go back to some retro uniforms. I like retro uniforms. I'm okay with that. Here's where I'm kind of a stickler. The Minnesota Wild will feature the current Wild logo with the style and colors of the 78 Minnesota North Stars. That bothers me. The Wild are not the old North Stars. The old North Stars are in Dallas. Those colors aren't our colors anymore. Yeah, they played here, but I don't like it when they mix the Wild and North Star stuff. It's not the same franchises. It's like Lakers. They'll show the old Minneapolis Lakers uniforms for the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves aren't the old Minneapolis Lakers. You look up Minnesota Wild or Minnesota North Star stats, they don't coincide with ours. They're different. I don't like the fact they combine the uniforms like this. I like it was that's not our franchise. Paul Westphal, former coach of the Phoenix Suns and Hall of Famer, has died today at the age of 70. Westphal was a 5-time All-Star and a 3-time first-team All-NBA. Former NBA legend, coach, and commentator Paul Westphal is at the age of 70. The Phoenix Suns confirmed that on Saturday. The news was intentionally shared. Longtime sports writer and family friend Mike Lupka of the New York papers. Westphal was diagnosed with brain cancer back in August. What I remember about Paul Westphal, he was a coach for the Phoenix Suns, led them to the one NBA Finals they had where they lost to the Bulls. There was one quote he had one time. He was doing an interview on ESPN Sunday Conversation thing. And they asked Paul Westphal, they go, what three things are most important to you in life? Now, remember, he's a basketball coach. He goes, my relationship with God, my family, and basketball. Then he pauses for a second. He goes, golf fits in there somewhere. And the guy goes, well, what's your handicap? And he goes, my wife. She don't let me go as much as I want to. And I always thought, there's a guy who's got it, Really? When that's your biggest concern in life is when you can go golfing and getting your wife's permission, life's pretty good. Life's pretty good. Some news from the NFL today. Saints COVID-19 outbreak. New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara, the guy who scored all those touchdowns against the Vikings a couple weeks ago, tested positive. And that led to the entire room of running backs to be quarantined this week. The entire New Orleans Saints running backs won't be playing this week because of COVID. That's a massive blow for the Saints. We're trying to get back on track and to chase Green Bay for that number 1 spot over on the playoffs. So with that being said, that's all done. There was another one. Was on here. Well, they play answer, so it shouldn't really matter, but we'll see. Also, the Cowboys-Giants game is affected by COVID-19. Giants offensive line coach being replaced because he's got COVID. A couple players from the Cowboys been put to the COVID list. That game has implements on who wins that division in the NFL East. So still going on. Like we read the blog before, like we've said before, NFL needs to bubble for the playoffs. Here you're coming down to week 17. Things aren't panning out right. These are teams that need playoff spots. NFL's going to have to ask, but I think they need the bubble for the playoffs. I know in college football, they moved the Rose Bowl to Texas at the last minute. Yes, it's just college football, but you know what? Limited fans, you can move these games around, no problem. That's all I got for sports. I got a couple concert notes here. Getting that concert, an online concert, 7th, January 8th. You get ticket info at No Cap Shows. Also, I got this off the 93X website, or 7 Desk's website would have it too. So September 8th, concert at 8 p.m. So check that out. At First Avenue here in Minnesota, March 6th, Dragon Force. Tentatively, we're playing there. We'll see. But another one, here's one we don't put about too much off on here. I kind of like this guy, so I'll do it. If you go to his website, he has got tickets for Rick Springfield did a concert on New Year's Eve. They're replaying that again. You can buy tickets. Go to his website for that. Rick Springfield doing a concert then. It's a replay from his New Year's Eve one. That, sir, is my sports news for you.
Well, I'm going to do a review of the college bowl season this year. And partly because there's not as many bowls this year as in the past. And the other reason is because there's so many things going on with COVID and the pandemic that games are being moved around, games are being canceled, and there's some interesting tidbits on these. So I'll go through all the 30 games. December 21st was the Myrtle Beach Bowl. That must be a new one. Appalachian State beat North Texas, and that took place in South Carolina. December 22nd was the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Nevada beat Tulane. Boca Raton Bowl, BYU over UCF. December 23rd, the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Georgia Southern beat Louisiana Tech 38-3. Montgomery Bowl, another fan favorite, I'm sure, in Montgomery, Alabama. Memphis beat Florida Atlantic 25-10. The New Mexico Bowl this year was moved to Frisco, Texas, and Hawaii beat Houston 28-14. Then we get Christmas Day. There was one bowl on Christmas Day, the Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. Buffalo beat Marshall 17-10. December 26th was the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. That was canceled. The Gasparilla Bowl. Now, we get into some of the better ones now. The Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. Number 19, Louisiana beat Texas San Antonio 31-24. A big win there for the Ragin' Cajuns in Louisiana. And that was played at the Gerald Ford Stadium in Dallas, Texas. The Lending Tree Bowl, which is always a big one, a favorite of yours, I think. And the Lending Tree Bowl played in Mobile, Alabama. Georgia State beat Western Kentucky. Now the Cure Bowl. Cure, C-U-R-E, Cure. The Cure Bowl.
Like the band.
What's that?
Like the band, The Cure.
The Cure, yes. So they're looking for a cure for
Robert
cancer.
Smith.
They have the Cure Bowl. Now this one's interesting. I don't know if you followed this one, Andy, but the first ever bowl game appearance for Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina was ranked 9th, undefeated coming in. Their coach was just voted the AP Coach of the Year. Kind of came out of nowhere. The Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina went to their first ever bowl game. They went to the Cure Bowl. They faced number 23 Liberty. And they played this in Camping World Stadium in Orlando. This game went to overtime. So Coastal Carolina, the Sun Belt Conference co-champion, went to their first ever bowl game. The Chanticleers get in, tie game, fourth quarter. Time runs out, they go to overtime. College bowl, college games, each team gets a possession at the 20, 25-yard line, I believe. Liberty gets the ball, 2 passes, incomplete, and a rushing attempt for -1 yard. Fourth down, kick a field goal, 40-some yards. They make it. They go up 3 points in overtime. Coastal Carolina gets the ball, 3 passing attempts, all incomplete. They kick a full field goal, to tie it, to send it into second overtime. It's blocked. Game over. Game over. They lose on a blocked field goal. Point of the story, both teams had a combined -1 yard in the overtime session. 5 incomplete passes and 1 rushing yard. Liberty wins it. Coastal Carolina still gets their coach, AP Coach of the Year for Coastal Carolina. The following day, the Military Bowl. This game was canceled. 29th was the Cheez-It Bowl. Oklahoma State beat Miami 37-34, also at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. A lot of these bigger stadiums get to host multiple bowl games, as we'll see here coming up. The Valero Alamo Bowl takes place, of course, in San Antonio. Number 20, Texas beat Colorado Buffaloes in that one. Now we move on to December 30th, Duke's Mayo Bowl. The Mayo Bowl was Wisconsin victorious over Wake Forest. The celebration in the locker room after the game, they broke the trophy. The Wisconsin Badgers team shatters the trophy in the locker room at the Mayo Bowl.
Just, you
can't make it up.
You can't make that stuff up. You can't make it up.
Now, the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl, Nashville, Tennessee, that one was canceled. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, Arlington, Texas, at the AT&T Stadium. That stadium's also used many times. Oklahoma, 55 over Florida, 20 in the Cotton Bowl Classic. December 31st was the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Mississippi State beat number 24 Tulsa. The Green Wave also got beat. Arizona Bowl, obviously in Arizona, takes place in Tucson. Ball State beat San Jose State. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl. West Virginia beat Army. That's in Memphis, Tennessee. The Texas Bowl in Houston, canceled. January 1st, we get to the Chick-Fil-A Peach Bowl. This is Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia. Also, they host multiple games. In this case, Georgia, 24-21 victory over Cincinnati. The VRBO Citrus Bowl, Northwestern, Big Ten team there. Northwestern beat Auburn 35-19, also at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. And then yesterday, semifinal games. Alabama winning 31-14 over Notre Dame in the national semifinal game. And that was at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. The late game was the All-State Sugar Bowl, played at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans once again. Ohio State, another Big Ten team, winning 49-28. And so January 11th, Andy, the national title game, Ohio State and Alabama. That should be good. Now, games
Alabama
today.
by 24.
What's that?
Alabama by 24.
They're currently picked by 8, I think is the early line.
Yeah.
Now, today's games, the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Kentucky wins 23-21 over North Carolina State. That's in Jacksonville, Florida. The Outback Bowl, Tampa, Florida, at Raymond James Stadium. Big Ten team, Indiana got beat by Ole Miss 26-20. And right now, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl is going on right now with Iowa State, number 10 ranked, leading 31-17 in the third quarter over the Oregon Ducks. That's in the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona. Tonight's late game is the Capital One Orange Bowl, Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens, Florida, Texas A&M taking on North Carolina. And so the stadium there for tonight's late game, if you watch that on Saturday night, same location as the national championship game, January 11th, Hard Rock Stadium. And that game is 7 p.m. on ESPN. That's it. That's the 30 bowls. A lot of strange, interesting notes, but it's always good this time of year. The big game once again.
You did miss one of them.
January 11th,
one bowl
title
game
game.
there.
Which one?
The Sports and Songs Bowl. It was supposed to be Little Sister Mary School of the Blind against Troop 1439. But we had to postpone that game as well.
That was
we played in my
canceled
backyard
altogether or postponed.
We had to cancel that one too. Yes. So
that was interesting
had
this
a big
time of the year.
Trophy made and everything. We'll wait.
That's all I've got for sports, Andy. Do you have anything else, or should we get into the trivia question answer?
Let's do the answer.
The answer, wild card's been around for 50 years in the NFL. Only 1 year they didn't have a wild card team. That was 1982. Strike shortened season in 82. 8 teams from each division, each conference, I should say, made the playoffs or the postseason, and they were just simply ranked 1 through 8. There was no division champions. There was no wild card. They just played single elimination tournament, and that was it. 1982 is the answer for no wild card team in the 50 straight years of wild card teams in the NFL.
Wow. All right, this week, like I said, we don't do birthdays much anymore now. It's kind of the event of the week, or a person of the week. I'll pick one person who had a birthday or an event. So like we covered the Army-Navy Bowl game a couple weeks ago. We've done celebrities, athletes. This week's is an event. Rick Allen, the God of Thunder, his car crash, the drummer from Def Leppard. On the afternoon of the 31st of December, 1984, Allen was involved in a car crash with his then-girlfriend, Myra Bernstein, on the A57 road in the countryside a few miles west of Sheffield. While trying to pass another car at high speed, he lost control of his Corvette C4, which hit a dry stone wall and entered into a field. He was thrown from the car, but because of his safety belt had been improperly fastened, causing his left arm to be severed. Right here at the shoulder, it was severed. They say when he was driving, it was his left arm. This is England. They drive on the other side. So because he had it on wrong, I don't know how he had it on, but it was on the other side, took it off. Reportedly, the woman who lived nearby responded to the scene to assist the victim. When asked by Allen, "Do you know who I am?" the woman said she didn't recognize Allen and wasn't familiar with Def Leppard. The woman packed their severed arm in ice to provide to first responders. His girlfriend suffered head, neck, and spine injuries from a severe whiplash. Doctors initially reattached Allen's arm, but because of an infection, it had to be reamputated. His right shoulder was also severely broken in the crash. Despite losing his arm, Allen soon decided to continue playing drums with Def Leppard. The amputated a special designed electric drum kit. The band took a hiatus from onstage performance until August 16th, 1986. So a year and a half later, when Allen was able to return to drumming at the Monsters of Rock Festival in Dunnington. So it's like he went back to Joe's Bar and Grill to play again. This was Monsters of Rock Festival, which if you're not familiar with that, it's a big festival in England. Multiple bands come there. They all play half dozen songs. It's kind of like an all-star game of heavy metal bands sitting there. And that's your first on-stage performance back is at Monsters of Rock. Just incredible. He has since readapted his acoustic drum kits depending on the setting. So he's got his own set. He uses both feet to play. If you ever watch a documentary on the way he does it, it's just mind-blowing. 2 men sat in Romero waiting to make the left turn on the A57 road in Sheffield when the accident happened. When they then saw a shiny black 1984 Corvette Stingray zip by in the main road. They didn't see who was actually at the wheel, but they were certain that the guy was being some kind of jerk. Burning rubber like it was on some fancy American sports car that would never cost any decent working class Englishman over a year's wages. Whenever Mr. Corvette was, he deserved a good scare. Rick Allen had no idea that there was any other cars behind his new Corvette until the Romero came roaring up past him on the bridge. Rick had been out of pleasant afternoon spin with his girlfriend, enjoying the lush green meadows of the English countryside in Sheffield. So they were just out tooling around. Someone passed them, so he wasn't the hot rod in the case. Go by. The Romero often brought them out of the ravine fast. Once the Romero passed them, instead of letting the Stingray just eat the exhaust, the driver slowed up. Rick's temper started to get the better of him. I can understand. He was out for a pleasure cruise, not a game of chicken. Rick tried to pass the other car a couple of times with no luck. Then, when out of almost 4 miles, Rick found an opening and pulled up alongside. For a brief moment, Rick was window to window with the other two punks, evil grins glowing and twisted up at that moment, growing in a twisted upward curves in their faces as they dangerously engaged the Corvette, practically trying to push Rick and his girlfriend right off the road. So the other car was kind of forcing them off as they're window to window, kind of pushing them off. Kind of like in a James Bond movie, you see him kind of weaning the guy off the road there. Rick was really mad now. He hit the accelerator and the Corvette took off at Indy 500 velocity. But when the sudden rush of speed and the disadvantage of driving an American left-handed drive vehicle on English road, Rick didn't see a left-handed curve coming. So he was on an American car, but they drive on the other side of the road. So that had to be a little different to do. Especially when you're used to driving on their side, this and that. Now you're speeding, you're upset. The stars and moons were aligned for accident to happen here. His girlfriend was trapped in the passenger seat. Rick thrown free from the car. So that's how the seatbelt severed his arm. He flew out of the car and the seatbelt stayed there. His body still ejected from the car. That's how the seatbelt severed him. So just to picture that is just gruesome. I mean, you think, oh, his body must have shook forward. No, it shook and it severed the arm right there. There's been some reports later that when he was first trying to get back to it, the band waited a few days before they went to go see him in the hospital. And when they went first and saw him, he had 2 pillows set up where his feet were at the end of the bed. And he's hitting, he goes, guys, I could still play the drums. I'll use my feet. And they all looked at each other like, the poor boy's on drugs. He doesn't know. He's still medicated. He's not thinking right. They didn't encourage it. They did by going, yeah, Rick, sure. I mean, they didn't, hey, great idea. This figured it was still the medication or something. But Rick Allen was just determined to come back. I mean, like I said, you hear the old things. Rick, they still introduce him as the God of Thunder. He's still a very incredible drummer, very talented man. But at the time, I don't have the numbers there. He was only in his very early 20s. He started music at 14 in bands and stuff. Still a very young man, so he still had the drive to want to do. So it wasn't like the end of his career. They had done the one album. They were the thing, you know. Then this crash happened. I think he's come back beautifully from it. You know, he was 21. He was born November 1st, 1963. So he was 21 when it happened. When I was 21, I don't know what I'd do if I lost my arm, lost my career. You know, I think I'd be kind of driven to want to come back at it too. I think the fact they had the best album of the year at the time, they were the band up and coming. You want to keep going. If it would have been a so-so album, he probably would have, who knows what would have happened. But because he was in a successful band, successful things, God bless him, he went forward and moved on. He's still drumming today. He hasn't tried to hide his arm. It is what it is when he walks. They don't try to always stand in front of him covering his one arm. You know, it is what it is. If you ever get a chance to watch his old YouTube videos and stuff now, if you listen, you can't tell the difference. Listen to the Photograph when it first came out and listen to him play it today. You won't tell the difference. He's that good a musician, that good a talent. That's my this week in history. I guess I don't know if I'll call it a person of the week or event of the week. It was I call it event of the week, so it was crash, really. But Rick Allen's crash, history of the week moment I got. What do you have for your album of the week, sir?
I remember that well. That was all over the news. Album of the week this week is Dio, The Last in Line. Now, this was 1984 as well, so we've got some crossover here in that, in some of the information relating to this. So, Last in Line album was the second studio album by the American heavy metal band Dio. And I'm going to bring this up here. Let's see, share the screen. See if you can see this. Is it there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I see it.
All right. So One of the best album covers of all time is this was released July 2nd, 1984. It was the first Dio album to feature Rough Cut keyboardist Claude Schnell from Rough Cut. It became the band's highest charting album in both the UK and the US. Now, this was recorded at Caribou Ranch in Colorado. And looking into this, I didn't know what this was, but really just 10 miles west of the city of Boulder, Colorado, in the Rocky Mountains, is an old ghost town called Caribou. And an individual had a farm out there, converted it into a studio. And if you ever heard of the Elton John album, Caribou Ranch, it's named after that. A lot of people recorded out there in Caribou Ranch in Colorado. So that's when this one was recorded. It's a heavy metal genre. The length is 41 minutes for 7 seconds. Here's the track listing. All lyrics written by Ronnie James Dio, of course, the late and great Ronnie James Dio. He died in 2010. First song, We Rock. Second song, The Last in Line. Third, Breathless. 4, I Speed at Night. 5, One Night in the City. Song 6, Evil Eyes. Song 7, Mystery. Song 8, Eat Your Heart Out. Song 9, Egypt, in parentheses, The Chains Are On. So that is the cover there. As we see with the band, they always feature Murray, the cartoon, basically the image. Murray is featured in all these Dio albums, and that's a character in the background. In 2005, The Last in Line was ranked number 372 out of the Rock Hard magazine's book of the top 500 greatest rock and roll albums of all time. Rock and metal albums of all time. Now, the release of the songs here in July of 1984, they released the song first, Mystery, with the other side, B-side, I Speed at Night. We Rock was released July 1st, only a couple weeks later, in 1984, We Rock. And then in 1984, in Europe only, they released the Last in Line single. Never released it actually in the US, only in Europe. The band, you'll like this one here. A lot of good information, Andy. Ronnie James Dio does the lead vocals. In fact, his guitarist at one point, Vivian Campbell, who was a youngster at the time, asked if he could sing some background vocals. Ronnie James says, no, you don't. Guitarists play guitar, you don't sing, ever. So Vivian Campbell that just played 3 albums with Dio as a youngster, just came out of nowhere. Really good lead guitarist, went on to play in Whitesnake and Def Leppard. So it ties in with your Def Leppard story here today. So Vivian Campbell, very good lead guitarist, but he was a youngster, essentially a rookie guy, because the rest of the band were all veterans in Dio. Jimmy Bain played the bass. Claude Schnell, keyboards. He came from that band, the Rough Cut. And then the drummer was Vinny Appice or Appice. Not sure how you say it.
Appice, I think it is.
It's Appice. So Vinny played drums. These guys came over from, with Jimmy Bain from Black Sabbath. And Vinny Appice's older brother is Carmine, both very good drummers in rock bands. Produced. The entire album was produced by Ronnie James Dio also. So not only did he sing and put it together in the studio, he produced the entire thing, all the tracks, all the lyrics are done by him. And it was their second album. The first album was Holy Diver, which we already reviewed, I think, on the first or second episode of Sports and Songs. Mm-hmm. And then they followed that up with 1985 Sacred Heart, which was average. But these first two, Holy Diver, Last in Line, if you get a chance, please get them, listen to them. Very good guitar work by Vivian Campbell on this. The drumming is unbelievable. And of course, Ronnie James Dio with the vocals. Good stuff. That's all I've got for the album review of the week. for Sports and Songs.
All right. Back, like I said, this week we're back with our regular format. I had a couple weeks off, did things a little differently. If you like the different things like that, let us know. We can always do something like that every now and then on Instagram. If things come up, we could pop up different things like that. I know we did for a while. We kind of got away from it in the summer there. Maybe we'll get back to stuff like that on Instagram every now and then, little special stories here and there like that.
Remember also to leave comments or suggestions or requests, comment section of the Facebook page as well. But that's all we've got for today's episode. Thanks everyone for listening.
All right. All right. We'll see you next week.
Yep.